Welcome to the Fire Away Podcast. The podcast is the Fire Away Podcast. Oh yeah, here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of Fire Away. Our listeners are fireflies. I'm still not a believer, but I hear we got 2 fireflies at least. So.
Yeah, no, I've heard we got a couple too. Yeah, welcome back to the show here, Fire Away Podcast. We were ready to fire away with anything and everything.
Yep.
Sometimes I say everything and anything or anything and everything, but it doesn't really matter,
It
right?
doesn't matter. It's just they mean the same thing. So tonight we're actually doing this. We're recording live.
Yes, we do this in our spare time.
Yep.
So
So
anybody wonders.
we're going to talk a little bit today about this episode being brought to us by our Fireline holiday party. Woo woo! Shout out to everybody involved in that. We're going to have a special guest here to talk a little bit about it.
I can't wait. I think she's I think she is like the know-all of what's about to happen and what's happening.
Just ask her; she'll tell you she's a know-all.
100%.
Tori Cowley is here
Yes.
joining us today.
We all know her and love her. She is the
speak for
eyes and
yourself.
ears of Fireline. She's the if you
She's
need
here in the
something.
room. We're just ribbing. She's here.
Oh yeah,
Welcome, Tori.
giggling.
She
like
is
to.
digging our setup. She said we look very professional and plain. So we got at least one person fooled.
Well, yeah. I mean, so if she says she's impressed, then we're fooling everybody.
Yeah, we're doing something right. Hey, Fred, that shirt looks fresh.
It is. It's my Fire Away Podcast shirt.
Yeah, they're gonna we're gonna put them up for sale. No, I'm just kidding. We're not.
Yeah.
If you're not part of the
Big dollars.
podcast, you're not getting one. We'll make a Fireflies. Fireflies merch. I think that's a great idea. I still don't like Fireflies, but if it sells,
Well, so far we've got 2 that we
got
know
two,
of.
So yeah,
But anyway, hey, let's get back to it. So you have Tori Cowley here is
Yeah.
going to tell us all about the holiday party, what it is, what's going to happen with it, as well as a little bit about Tori herself, what makes her tick, what she likes to do in her free time, because we'd all like to know.
Yep. Yeah. Here we go. Come on, Tori. Hop on here.
Hello, hello.
Hi, welcome, Tori. Welcome to Fire Away. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I thank you for all the planning that went into this episode and having you on here today. I know we've been preparing this for about 6 minutes. So
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the longest 6 minutes of my life.
yeah. So I mean, I've heard that before. So thanks for coming in. We wanted to get you in here for multiple reasons. You were one of the first people to respond and say, "Hey, I want to be on the show." So
Mhm.
thank you for that. I'm still waiting for more people. A lot of times we got to track down people, so it's exciting to have somebody come on and join us that actually want to be part of the show. So thank you for reaching out. So we wanted to fit this in because you have been the planner extraordinaire for our holiday party. You know more about it than anybody. And if you weren't here for our last casino night, it was one of our favorites. So you combine that with one of my favorite locations that we've had it at, Laurel Park. It should be a really good time. So you want to tell us a little bit about what went into planning this and how it came about?
Yeah, of course. First of all, shout out to Fred for his amazing attire that year. He wore a hysterical Christmas suit, and it was amazing. So everything with the Fireline party is pretty self-explanatory. I love putting things together for people. Anything to where everybody's just going to have a good time, laugh, kind of break away from the norm is where I'll thrive. This party is going to be amazing. And I will say that we have got a great DJ this year, a wonderful photographer. If you are not familiar with Laurel Racetrack, it is beautiful. It makes you feel like you are in a whole different world while you're there. You've got the glitz and glam, and I think it's pretty much a sexy venue, if I can say that. I don't know. It's a good S word. But yes, it is November 18th from 6 to 10. We do have hotel accommodations.
Is that a Friday or a Saturday?
That is a Saturday.
Saturday night, November
Yes.
18th. Okay, great.
Yes, we do have hotel accommodations. if you need to book a room because you want to have, a night away from the kids or away from your
So
spouse,
to be clear,
whatever.
there are hotel accommodations, but you're paying them for yourself.
Yeah, I'm using your employee card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not buying anybody a hotel. I'm not even going to be there. I'm going to be on a cruise. Liz is actually taking my spot. So Liz is going to jump on the live podcast. She doesn't know it yet. She's going to jump on the live podcast.
She is the hostess with the mostest. I'll give her that.
So what's the attire going to be? What should we look forward to when we're coming?
I would say more of like a Vegas night out.
Okay, dress to impress.
Yeah. Think sequins.
Hangover?
Think Hangover. If somebody
okay.
wears Carlos this year, I will be forever in your debt.
I like it.
I think wearing a baby to a party would be hysterical. And please drink and drive responsibly.
Yeah. Don't drink and drive responsibly. There was a comma in there.
Yeah,
drink, but then drive responsibly. And do not bring a real baby to the party. This is adults only. Bring a fake baby.
Yes.
Plenty of y'all try and bring your baby's kids to the party. Not allowed this year. Okay?
No. I'll put them on that roller coaster though. If you've seen that movie, I'll throw them right on there.
Oh, Bebe's Kids?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a good '90s movie.
You missed our episode where we were talking about like our favorite horror movies. But that's a good '90s movie. That's a good topic. Maybe we can get into our '90s movies later. So thank you for touching on our holiday party. That's what this episode is brought to us. So let's talk a little bit about Tori Cowley here. And how long have you been in Fireline now?
A little over 6 years.
6 years. That goes by so fast. I feel like I remember when you started.
I'm sure you've heard that too.
It's a long 6 years. So, in your position, is it just I don't want to call it receptionist. I know we have so many different terms now. What is your position? Is it talk to me here?
So,
what are we calling you?
Of course, I am a receptionist. I am here to.
You do more than just reception.
Yeah. I am also the office admin, ordering supplies, inventory, kind of making sure everybody has what they need, starting from a good mood when they walk in the front door to anything else that they need to kind of really make them go.
So 6 years. And what did you do before this?
I actually came from the medical field. I was working at Harbor Hospital and then at Maryland Primary Care as an MA.
It's my doctor, Maryland Primary Care Physician.
Yeah. Which one?
Quarterfield Road.
Yeah.
Shout out. Yeah.
That's where I was.
I go there and do the cough.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you got the COVID. Sorry.
I was talking about the turn your head and cough, not the COVID cough. They're two different things.
I don't know about the turn your head cough, but whatever tickles your fancy. Yeah, and I had done that for about 10 years, and then I was bartending. Believe it or not, a Cancun Cantina and Bamboo Bernie's, which is now Twain's Tavern.
Twain's Tavern, I know.
Yes.
Two terrible names.
Yeah.
Right. So,
great ownership, though.
Great ownership. All right, I'll take your word for it. So let's start from the beginning. Tori, where'd you grow up at?
I actually grew up in Severna Park.
Severna Park. Okay. Fancy.
Yeah, it was all right, and then about when I was 13, my parents decided to divorce.
Okay.
And my number one actually moved to Pennsylvania, and stepdad number two is actually still holding, and we are in Glen Burnie.
Okay. Okay. So let's start there. First of all, brothers or sisters, family, only child?
So I have 4 half sisters, but I am the only child.
You're the only child
my mom and my father.
of your mom and dad. Okay.
And they are all girls.
Who raised you? Were you raised by
my mom?
Mom. Okay. So stepdad and real dad out of the picture?
No. So real dad was a Baltimore City police officer.
Okay.
He passed away about 11 years ago. But with his work schedule, he was there when he could be.
Shout out to the Baltimore City Police.
Yeah, any Leo really is got my vote.
Okay.
Then my parents, actually my mom and dad, divorced when I was 2. So then from 2 to 13, my stepdad Richard raised me, and he was everything that you would want a stepfather to be. He taught me how to ride a bike.
You're everything you want a dad to be, right?
Well,
you
absolutely.
don't have to have a step, right?
Yeah.
I forget the saying about any man can be a dad, I don't really know how it goes, but I get what you're saying. I get the sentiment behind it, and it's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so your parents divorced. Do you don't move to Pennsylvania at all? You don't go to Pennsylvania.
Nope.
You just stay in Severna Park or Glen Burnie area.
So once we sold my childhood home,
Okay.
my mom decided to stay single for a little bit. We moved to Pasadena. Shout out to Pasadena.
Yeah.
Fort Smallwood Road.
So you're from. So that's the area. That's your
Yeah.
child. Okay, so you grew
Yes.
up around there. Okay.
So and then from there, my mom started dating my stepdad, Bill. And they have now been married for 21 years, and we moved to Glen Burnie about when I was 16 years old.
All right,
Yeah.
Mom. I got you, Mom. Settle
Yeah.
down. I like it. So growing up in the area, as you know, now divorce is very common, and if you're not comfortable talking about it, please let me
No, it's fine.
it's so common. I don't know if it was as common back in. I have to assume we're close to. I know I'm older than you. We're fairly close to the same. But here's how I tell you, I don't ask ladies their age. But what year did you graduate high school?
2001.
Okay, so we are very cless to the same age. Okay, I graduated in 2007. Shout out, I'm only like 35.
Yep.
I don't even know if that math adds up right. But
No.
so I mean, does it affect you, girl? Like, is this something like, or was it just your norm? You know, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I've had friends of divorce. I've had friends whose parents probably should have divorced. You know what I mean? And I'm not one of those kids too. I've seen the struggles from both sides of it, and I still don't know. I'm sure that there's analytics out there to what's better, right, for a child.
Absolutely.
Whether it's you see your parents stay together and struggle, or they separate, or so. How did it affect you personally? What growing up in that atmosphere?
So growing up, after the separation of my mom and my stepdad happened, I went, just on a rampage. I kind of lost who I was, and in doing so, in the long run, I actually found who I was because, they say what you go through kind of molds who you are today. I feel growing up, divorce was less spoken of because at that point, we had a lot of traditional ways.
There's almost a stigma to it. Right?
Absolutely. And myself personally being divorced, I would say that, at the end of the day, you're teaching your children how to love, what is to be expected, what you want for them. And if you're not creating that vision for them, I almost feel like it could possibly be a setup for failure.
Yeah. So, and I like to play devil's advocate on a lot of things, especially on the podcast as well. So there is strength in trying to make something work, but there's also strength in admitting that this isn't going to work.
Absolutely.
And as hard as this is going to be on everybody,
Yeah.
you decide to go our separate ways. So you said you went on a little bit of a rampage. I want to hear a little bit about that. Like, what do you mean? Like, were you just acting out? Like, were you going to 7-Eleven and shoving Twizzlers in your pocket? Were you slashing tires? What were we doing here?
So, no tire slashing, but one of my temper tantrums, if you will, I wound up taking my mom's brand new Toyota Camry four-wheeling at a place called Bloody Ponds.
I remember Bloody Ponds, just a four-wheel back there on an actual four-wheeler, not a Toyota.
Yeah, not a
Camry.
Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the worser things I've done.
Is that behind Night Shift, right? Is that what the club with the gentleman's club is? Night Shift? Yeah, Fred Shane.
Fantasies,
Fred.
Fantasies.
Is it Fantasies is Bloody Pond?
Yeah, it's behind Fantasies.
Okay, it's behind Fantasies. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Night Shift is under the bridge. Yeah, not that I've ever been there.
No, not at all. What was the address again?
Hey, Jack Meyer. I know you're not listening to this, but he's a bouncer of Fantasies.
No, I think, I grew up in a very Beaver Cleaver home.
Speaking of Fantasies, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Mark's gonna.
Well, I don't know. So you gotta. I honestly, I've never watched that show that you're referring to. So can you tell me what you mean by that?
So June Cleaver was just, your Susie homemaker.
Okay.
She was what a woman was supposed to be, and the father was out providing and doing the outside things and the sports, and the mom was just
the homemaker.
Yeah.
Sure, everything else was it. Dinner was ready when Dad came home.
Absolutely, and he
So,
got the first plate. And
I'm not done
everything.
talking about the rampage.
Okay.
So you didn't just steal a Camry and go four-wheel. There's more to it. So, okay, at this time when you did this, was stepdad the policeman around?
So Dad was the policeman.
Okay, Dad was the policeman. Okay.
He was not around. He was, again, working crazy
so
shifts.
You didn't do it because you thought you had to get out of jail free card, right?
No, I did it to kind of like prove a point. Like, you're not my dad. You're not my, my personal or my first stepdad. And I guess it was just, my payback. You know, I was hurt, so I was going to
Sure.
hurt you any way that you could hurt me.
Very defiant. Like,
Very defiant.
yeah.
Skip
Can't wait for those
school.
days.
Tried
Really.
some things I shouldn't have.
So did you go? When you go to what school did you go to in
Chesapeake.
County? Chesapeake. Okay. So I went to a private school, so it was really hard to skip school at a private school.
Mhm.
Was it easier back then? You know, to do that at like Chesapeake?
Yeah, I mean, I hung out with the older crowd. You know, and they would pick me up to go to school, and you know, some days we'd go.
Yeah.
Some days we would make it to the parking lot. Some days we would go. It all just really mattered, you know, who said what that morning in the car. You
Yeah.
know?
So all right. So now you're hanging out with the older crowd. Were you getting into, were you guys drinking and getting
Oh yeah,
rambunctious?
yeah. We're doing
Rowdy.
everything that I'm scared of
Rowdy
now.
with each other? Oh, okay. So scared straight. You scared yourself straight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey,
I
sometimes
think
that
there's a
works.
TV
too.
show called that.
It was. Yeah. Yep.
That was me.
That was you. So you scared yourself straight. You didn't have to go to juvie. That's good. So did you ever get arrested? That's a good question. Huh?
So there was this one time later.
Let's talk about it. No.
No, I got arrested for I was at a red light in Linthicum, Ferndale, and I was stopped on train tracks. And this was like right after the move from Pasadena to Glen Burnie. So I had gotten a ticket, like, I don't know, for I think it was tint. It goes to my Pasadena address. I never get it. I'm stopped on train tracks right there for the light rail at Willie's restaurant or whatever.
Right there. I live right there. Okay.
Sure enough, a cop comes right away and gets me on that ramp, getting on to 695. And I spent the night in a holding tank. They did offer me McDonald's, though, breakfast.
What did you get? Did you get something?
No, I was too scared. It was like the drunk tank, but I wasn't drunk, and it sucked.
We're just holding you for, what's that feel? What it was?
I don't remember. It was just a guy gave me
for a tent ticket.
10
Rebel.
tickets saying the same thing, and I got to go to jail that night. Scary. Imagine telling my dad.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've never been arrested.
It's not a good time. I did get the front row seat, though. I had to sit in the front, you know.
So it's okay. How old were you then when this happened?
18.
18. Oh,
Yes.
I guess you didn't understand. So it's not going to arrest the 16.
No, they still would.
So now,
Maybe.
was this still part of your, like, did that play into your rampage, or were you scared straight by then?
I feel like I shifted a little bit then. Then I was just 18 going to the Baltimore clubs and getting into places that I had no business being in.
Quarter beer night. Right? Was that
Baja.
Baja.
That was
quarter
Baja.
beer. All right.
Yeah, then you'd go right across the street to Iguana.
Whose idea was that? Quarter
I don't know, but they made money.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's a great idea. Unless you were one of the Baltimore City police working around there. I'm sure they were plenty busy doing that.
They had mounted cops for that. That was a good time.
Goodness.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, then I was really into like cars and hooking up cars.
That's
and
Glen Burnie for you.
That
right
is
there.
true Glen Burnie girl.
So I grew up in Baltimore. We would come out to Glen Burnie as I became a teenager. My older cousins, they drove.
Mm-hmm.
We would spend our weekends in Glen Burnie. We'd go through Pep Boys parking lot, making fun of all the losers in their cars.
Oh yeah, I was probably parked in there.
Shout out to if you're a loser in your car. Sorry, it just wasn't what we were into.
Yeah.
So you know how you do when you're a kid and then somebody's into something you're not. And then eventually Fast and Furious comes out and we're all trying to put exhaust on our cars. And,
I think everybody turned into a Vin Diesel.
Yeah,
after that.
yeah, exactly. That's when I started shaving my head.
They're still doing it.
Yep. So okay, so now you're into cars.
Yeah.
You're early 20-something, still living in Glen Burnie. Early 20-something years old.
Mm-hmm.
You have a child. When do you have your child?
I had Mackenzie when I was 27.
Okay, so not early 20. That's average. I would say it's an average age. Unless you're from Dundalk, I think kids around 12.
Not 14, but maybe they're getting younger.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. The genes in these kids these days are different.
I'm only picking on Liz is hanging out here for this podcast, so I'd just like to make Liz and Dundalk. Yeah, 1 in 5.
15.
All right, so how's that come about? So here we are, right? We're in the cars. Let's keep going. You're in the cars. You're already 20-something. What's next for you? Do you go to college?
No, I actually did not go to college.
Okay.
I kind of lost all that steam after the whole dropping out thing around 2001.
Okay, so you dropped out. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we covered that. So
I did go back to my GED though.
Okay.
So I might not be the sharpest tool in the box.
Yeah.
But I'm in that shed.
Oh, you're in the shed.
That's all that
Okay.
matters. I'm in the shed.
You're in the shed.
But yeah, no. After that, I had Mackenzie. I met her dad when I was working at the bar.
Okay.
Good old
Which one? Which one was this one?
Bamboo Bernie's.
Bamboo Bernie's. Okay.
Yeah. He was in the band. So yes, I was a firefly for that band.
What was the band name?
Versus the Earth.
Versus the Earth. Were they any good?
Yeah, they're really good.
Are they still good together?
No, actually, they got signed and went out to California, made a video, and broke up after the video.
It's probably a lot. I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's probably when you learn it's not everything you thought it was. Probably.
I think a lot more of your personality comes out once the cameras turn on.
A bit
and
of
then turn
fame,
off.
and I mean, you see Freddie Anders ever since his podcast took off.
I mean, I've seen Mark Meyer.
Oh my God,
That
that guy's
guy's
head.
really it's like a balloon.
Yeah. All right, so you have your child, Mackenzie,
Mm-hmm.
27. Now, how does that change your life? Now, you are coming from a product of divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You have a child. Does it affect your thought process in bringing the child into this world and your relationship and how you want to handle it?
I mean, ultimately, yes. When I first had her, I think it was more shell shock than anything.
That you had a child, or
Yeah.
just like the reality of I had brought another human into this life?
I am a mom.
Okay, yeah.
You any
feel
parents, you swear like, okay, I never want children, like I'm good with not having kids, and then they always talk about that instinct, and that instinct is a real thing.
Yeah.
Even when you get a puppy, for those that
it's along the line. Yeah. That primal instinct you get from being a parent is something I never thought I would have. And there's still days I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I can't believe I'm somebody's dad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Some kid chose me.
Yeah, but then the second you're there, it's nothing else matters. Right? You can build this tunnel vision when you're around your children.
Mm-hmm.
At least if you're a human being, you do. So you start to just say you're shell shocked. You have this child.
Yeah.
Is it like, hey, it's time to really focus on myself now and this kid? Like, what you focusing? No. Okay.
The complete opposite. I went back to my chaotic ways and going out with the girls, drinking all the time.
So was it because, let me ask you this, was because it was hard to accept that, hey, I have this responsibility?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a huge pill to swallow. You now have to be responsible for somebody else, and at that point I wasn't responsible for me.
Okay.
Again, Beaver Cleaver growing up, I was always well taken care of. I have Mackenzie, and that.
So you have this bar now that you feel like you have to live up to for your children because of the way you were brought up.
Yeah. Which, I mean, every parent wants the best for their kids, right? So, a few years later, I have Dom, which, if you guys have seen him in this office, I'm sorry, he is a human tornado. I think that's when it really hit me. It's time to buckle down. It's time to be a parent. And poor Mackenzie was, I think, she was about 4 or 5.
When you had your son?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this girl, I mean, they're polar opposites. So
that's a tough age too, because 4 or 5. I know my daughter's 4. Not determined. They demand all of your attention,
100%.
all of your time, all of your energy, and now you're bringing another baby into it. And I said, I don't know how people ever have 2 children, but more than that. But yeah, so all right, so it's
it's crazy. Mackenzie is my very low key child. She is as sweet as she is beautiful. Dominic, on the other hand, has tested my inner Jesus.
Yep, they always say that about the second child, so it seems
boys.
like it's true. Everybody you talk to, Liz is nodding too. That second child is something else. All right.
Boys are just built funny.
Yeah, and boys are different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't say I assume because I am a boy, but I don't have a boy. But everybody I know that has boys, they also boys are wild. Be thankful you don't have a boy. Yeah. And I am. You know.
I test my liver functions frequently.
So, I mean, you seem like a well-adjusted human being now. So, where did
man?
At least on most days. So you have Dom. All right, how was Dom when you come to Fireland, or would you get into the medical? You get out of the bars, you go into the hospitals.
Yeah,
Is that the transition of when you start to get it together?
Yeah. When I left the doctor's office in 2015, I I had gotten married in 2015, got pregnant in 2015. And then I quit the doctor's office just because, I was high risk and, I had a lot of pregnancy problems. Then about a year later, I was like, I'm ready to get back out. Like, it's a struggle. I need to take some weight off of my husband at the time shoulders. And I reached out to Liz one day. I don't know what it was. And I had met her through my ex-husband.
So you say Liz, are you talking about
Liz Atkins?
Liz Atkins, okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
I became great friends with her, through my marriage, and she's been there through, the ups and downs of all of that.
She's a firefly.
Yeah, I'm totally flying with her. I brag about your guys' podcast faithfully. It just kind of looks cool.
So Liz brings you into the interview, or so did you interview for a receptionist job, or how did that all come together?
So at first, when I reached out to her, she was like, "Oh, we don't have anything. We just hired a girl like a couple days forward."
That we fired
before, yeah. Stop the madness. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, if anything opens up, let me know." A couple days later, she's like, "So things didn't exactly work out. Can you come in and interview with Shannon and I?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's no problem." And I think that's the last time I wore a dress.
Oh, wow.
It was for my interview 6 years ago. And I still joke with Shannon all the time. My interview was the hottest interview I've ever had temperature-wise.
Temperature-wise. Would you do it outside or something in August?
You would have thought so. It was June. Shannon had no air conditioning. The window was open, trying to get air, and there
that was the old building.
Yeah,
back in the day.
That's when I had 3 desks.
A maze.
Yeah. I always say it's like a labyrinth.
And as they say, the rest is history. So you've been here now 7 years. I know you work closely with Anna. Do you have a favorite Fireline memory before we get you out of here?
I would have to say the holiday party at Laurel Racetrack.
Okay, the first one. So, okay.
Yeah.
The first Laurel Racetrack.
Yes, the first one we had, it was 2019, right before COVID. Again, this venue is beautiful. Come dressed to impress. Come out to have a great time. Get a sitter for overnight. Get a hotel room and just make the most of it.
Yeah. So before I let you go, we like to ask all of our guests, what advice would Tori today, 7 years in, give to Tori day one walking into Fireline?
Don't be so hard on yourself. I am the worst at judging myself when everybody else thinks that everything's okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tori. I appreciate you coming on here. I know we threw this on you, and you're a rock star. This is a fantastic interview. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. And thanks everybody for listening. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at fire_away podcast, Apple Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Apple Podcast. It means a lot to us. Casino night, our holiday party, Saturday, November 18th from 6 to 10 at Laurel Park. Dress to impress. We will see you there. We'll talk to everybody next time.